You'll understand someday, Allison. He's the smart one. Those were my father's last words to me before the lawyers closed the boardroom door. Mart. The word stung more than the inheritance I didn't get. The day of the will reading felt like a bad movie. My brother, Lucas Graves, sat at the head of the mahogany table in our father's $40 million Manhattan penthouse, smirking like he'd already won. He had. The lawyer's voice echoed. To my son, Lucas Graves, I leave full control of Graves Industries and a $50 million trust. To my daughter, Allison Graves. Paper rustled. My personal journals and the beach house in Cape Harbor. The room went silent. Lucas let out a quiet laugh. Don't take it personally, sis. You were always more sentimental. I wanted to scream. Instead, I smiled. Guess you'll have fun counting zeros. But when I looked at our mother, my stepmother actually, her face wasn't smug. It was pale. Like she knew something I didn't. That night, I sat alone in the beach house, staring at Dad's old journals stacked on the table. The ocean outside roared like it was trying to say something. I flipped open the first page. If you're reading this, it means I failed to make things right. The handwriting was shaky. The next line blurred as tears hit the page. What I built, Lucas will destroy. But what I hid, you must find. Froze. What I hid. My hands trembled as I turned the next page. A note addressed to someone named Evelyn Cole. And below it, a line that made my pulse stop cold. She knows where the real trust is. I didn't sleep that night. The ocean kept whispering against the rocks like it knew secrets I didn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Dad's words again. She knows where the real trust is. By sunrise, I was on the phone with every contact I had in the city, searching for Evelyn Cole. One finally called back. Evelyn Cole used to work at Graves Industries, head of finance. Vanished after your dad's heart attack. Vanished. The word felt heavy. I drove into Manhattan, past glass towers that still carried our name, but not our soul. Lucas's face was already on the building banners. New era. New vision. Dad's legacy turned into marketing copy. Inside the lobby, security stopped me. Miss Graves, your brother said you're not authorized upstairs. I smiled thinly. Then tell my brother he's about to lose $50 million. An hour later, I stood in a quiet cafe on 58th Street, staring at a woman in a black dress. Mid-40s. Elegant. Composed. Eyes that had seen too much. Evelyn Cole. She looked up slowly. You look just like your father. My throat tightened. He wrote your name in his journals. Said you know where the real trust is. Her spoon froze halfway to her cup. He told you that? Yes. Please, what does it mean? Evelyn glanced around, then leaned in. Your father didn't trust Lucas. That $50 million trust was never meant for him alone. There's a second one, hidden through an offshore foundation. But only one person can unlock it. Who? She gave me a long, unreadable look. You. My breath caught. Me. But Dad. He left everything to Lucas. That was the public version, she said. The private trust activates only if Lucas violates certain clauses. What kind of clauses? She hesitated. Ethics. Fiduciary honesty. Your father suspected he was laundering money through shell subsidiaries. He built a failsafe. If your brother ever used company funds for personal gain, the trust automatically transfers to you. My mind spun. Then why didn't anyone tell me? Because the activation needs proof, she whispered. And your father hid that proof somewhere safe. Somewhere Lucas would never look. Where? Evelyn's eyes flicked toward the window. I'll show you. Just then her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen, and all color drained from her face. We have to go, she hissed. Why? What happened? She slid the phone across the table. It was a security feed from the Graves Industries parking lot. A black SUV idled by the entrance. Lucas stepped out, followed by two men I didn't recognize. Evelyn stood abruptly. He knows you're looking for me. The cafe door swung open. The men walked in, scanning the crowd. Evelyn, I whispered. What now? She grabbed my wrist. Now, Allison, we run. We didn't stop running until the city skyline disappeared behind us. Evelyn drove in silence, her hands gripping the steering wheel like the truth might escape if she let go. I stared out the window, heart pounding. Where are we going? Upstate, she said. Your father owned a private storage site under a dummy corporation, Horizon West Holdings. No one knew except him and me. The name jolted a memory. Dad once took me hiking near that area when I was 16. He'd said, "Someday you'll see what patience builds underground." I thought he was being poetic. Now I knew he wasn't. 2 hours later, we turned down a dirt road lined with dead trees. A steel gate blocked the path. Evelyn entered a code on the keypad. 4 beeps, then a heavy click. The air inside the underground tunnel smelled of dust and oil. Lights flickered to life one by one, revealing rows of storage units. Evelyn stopped at Unit 47B. She turned to me. "Whatever's in here, your father said it would destroy Lucas if he ever lost his conscience." My stomach twisted. "Then let's open it." The padlock clicked open. Inside there was no gold, no money. Just shelves stacked with black binders, a safe, and a small metal box labeled confidential. JH Trust. Evelyn knelt by the box. "This is it. The real trust ledger." I opened it carefully. Inside was a USB drive, a handwritten note, and several receipts for international wire transfers, each signed by Lucas. I read the note aloud. "If Lucas ever betrays this family, these files will shift control of all Graves' assets to my daughter. The system is self-triggered upon verified misconduct." My pulse raced. "So, the company, the $50 million trust, it can all revert to me?" Evelyn nodded. "If you can prove he broke the clause." And he did. These receipts show he transferred funds from Graves Industries into his private venture, Rivencore Holdings. That's fraud. Before we could celebrate, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. A message popped up. "You should have stayed at the beach house." Evelyn grabbed my arm. "He's tracking us. We need to leave now." As we raced out, headlights appeared at the far end of the tunnel. Black SUV. Evelyn floored the gas, tires squealing. "Hold on." Gunshots cracked against the rear window. We burst through the gate, dirt flying, metal screaming. I clutched the box against my chest, praying it wouldn't be our coffin. After 10 minutes of chase, Evelyn swerved onto a forest path. The SUV disappeared in the distance. She parked in the shadows, breathing hard. "He's desperate. That means we're close." I looked down at the box. My father's handwriting stared back at me. "The truth will protect you, Allison. But only if you have the courage to use it." The next morning, the Graves Industries boardroom felt colder than ever. Lucas sat at the head of the table, perfectly calm, sipping espresso as if nothing had happened. "Nice of you to join us, sis," he said smoothly. "Evelyn Cole, too, our resident fugitive accountant." I ignored his smirk. "Let's skip the sarcasm, Lucas. I have documents showing you transferred funds illegally from company accounts." The room went silent. Lucas leaned back. "You really think anyone here will believe that? You're just a bitter heir clinging to Daddy's ghost." I slid the USB across the table. "This isn't about Dad. It's about the trust. You violated it. Which means everything you own, every share, every dollar, reverts to me." A murmur rippled through the board. Evelyn plugged the USB into the projector. Screens lit up with wire transfers, offshore accounts, and falsified invoices, all bearing Lucas's signature. The chairman, Mr. Reed, adjusted his glasses. "Lucas, this is serious. These are criminal-level discrepancies." Lucas's charm cracked. "You think I'd leave evidence that obvious? Please." He turned to the door. "You can come in now." The door opened. And there she was, our stepmother Claire. She walked in wearing pearls and a smile sharp enough to cut glass. Allison, she said sweetly, you really should have called before airing family laundry. My chest tightened. You knew. She nodded. Of course. I helped restructure those transfers. Your father left debts, sweetheart. Lucas was protecting the company. Evelyn stood. That's a lie. Those funds didn't pay debts. They bought private real estate in Dubai. Claire's smile didn't fade. You always were dramatic, Evelyn. That's why your testimony won't matter. She handed Lucas a folder. Signed affidavits, she said. From every current board member, stating they were aware and approved of the fund reallocations. Lucas smirked. You see, Allison, Dad's golden boy always plans ahead. I felt the floor tilt. The room spun. But then I remembered something Evelyn had said. Your father hid a failsafe. My voice steadied. Did you ever wonder why Dad kept Evelyn's digital access after firing her? Lucas frowned. What are you talking about? Evelyn smiled. Because only I can verify which files are authentic. And guess what, these signatures. She held up the affidavits. They're digitally forged. All time-stamped after your father's death. The chairman stood abruptly. Is that true? Lucas's mask cracked. She's lying. But the boardroom lights flickered. Evelyn pressed a button. The projector displayed a recorded video. My father, filmed months before his death. If this message plays, it means Lucas has violated the moral clause of the Graves Trust. Gasps filled the room. Lucas froze. Claire went pale. The assets will automatically transfer to Allison Graves upon verification. The room erupted. Lawyers whispered, phones rang. I just sat there trembling. For the first time in my life, Dad's voice was defending me. It took less than 24 hours for the Graves empire to fracture. Headlines screamed, Graves heir under investigation for fraud. Stock prices plummeted. Lucas's smug grin vanished from every billboard. But I didn't feel triumph. Only exhaustion. Evelyn and I spent hours with investigators confirming the data's authenticity. She handled the legal jargon. I handled the emotions. Mostly by not having any. That night, the company's security chief called. Miss Graves, you should see this. He showed me security footage from the archives. Claire, my stepmother, walking into Dad's office the night before his heart attack, carrying a briefcase, leaving without it. My skin went cold. Pause. Zoom in. On the briefcase handle was a metal tag. Trust. The same marking from the box we'd found in the vault. Evelyn frowned. She knew about it. I whispered. She took something before he died. We dug through Dad's old correspondence, looking for clues. Finally, in a forgotten email backup, we found one from Claire to Lucas. Make sure the doctor keeps this quiet. He can't know we were there. My hand shook. She was with him that night. Evelyn's voice was low. You think they? Yes. I swallowed hard. They didn't just betray him. They helped end him. The realization hit like a train. The heart attack wasn't natural, it was convenient. I wanted to go to the police immediately, but Evelyn stopped me. Wait. If we accuse them now without solid medical proof, they'll bury it. We need leverage. That's when I remembered Dad's last journal entry. The one he'd written 2 days before he died. If anything happens to me, the truth will rise in the daughter they underestimated. He'd hidden the proof somewhere. Evelyn and I spent days searching the beach house. Every drawer, every book. Nothing. Until one stormy night, lightning flashed through the living room window and illuminated something behind the fireplace mirror. A thin envelope taped to the frame. Inside was a USB labeled Claire. Final proof. My heart stopped. We opened it. A hidden audio recording played. Dad. Claire, I know what you and Lucas are planning. Claire. You won't live to stop us, Thomas. The room spun. Evelyn covered her mouth. There was motive, confession, everything. The truth wasn't just financial. It was murder. I sat in the district attorney's office as the recording played. No one spoke. Even the hum of the air conditioner felt intrusive. When it ended, the DA leaned back slowly. "This changes everything. Lucas and Claire were both arrested that night. Fraud. Conspiracy. Possible homicide. But I wasn't ready for what came next." At the preliminary hearing, Lucas looked destroyed. Dark circles under his eyes, Ty askew. Claire sat rigid beside him, still trying to maintain control. When the recording played in court, she lost it. "That's not me," she screamed. "That's not my voice." The judge frowned. "Then whose voice is it?" Silence. Evelyn stood in the gallery, eyes steady. "Play the last 30 seconds again." The audio replayed. Only this time we all caught it. A faint background sound before the argument. Ringtone. The same ringtone I'd heard from Evelyn's phone the day we first met. I turned toward her slowly. "Evelyn." Her expression didn't change. "Your father wasn't supposed to die, Allison. It was supposed to be a warning." My heart froze. "You." "I loved him," she said quietly. "But he trusted the wrong people. I tried to fix it afterward. That's why I found you." The courtroom exploded into chaos. Reporters shouted. Lawyers screamed. Evelyn was taken into custody on the spot. But before they led her away, she whispered to me. "He made me promise to protect you, even if it meant becoming the villain." Days later, the court declared my father's private trust officially transferred to me. Lucas was sentenced. Claire disappeared into a plea deal. Evelyn faced charges, but I couldn't hate her. She had been both betrayer and savior. Standing outside the courthouse, I watched the sunrise. For the first time in months I felt peace. I opened Dad's final journal one last time. The last line read, "Wisdom isn't in who's smart, Allison. It's in who learns." And for the first time, understood. The day I walked into Graves Industries as its new CEO, the marble lobby felt different. For the first time my footsteps didn't echo shame, they echoed power. The boardroom that once belonged to Lucas was spotless, the air heavy with the ghosts of every argument, every insult. I stood before the same glass wall where Dad used to stand and whispered, "We're home, Dad." I didn't rebuild the company for revenge. I rebuilt it for peace. Reporters swarmed the next morning. "Ms. Graves, how does it feel inheriting a $50 million trust?" Smiled. "It feels earned." But deep down, I knew money wasn't the victory. The victory was survival. I poured myself into work, revamping departments, promoting overlooked employees, restoring Dad's ethical policies. Within months, profits returned, but the culture changed. People felt safe again. Then came the letter. No return address. Just a single name written in cursive. Evelyn. My pulse jumped as I opened it. They offered me a deal. Took it. "I'll serve time, but not forever. When I'm out, keep your promise. Fix what he broke. P.S. Check your father's old office safe. The code is your birthday." That night, I returned to Dad's study in the penthouse, the room sealed since the investigation. Inside the safe, wrapped in an old cloth, was a pendant engraved with a single word. Faith. Taped beneath it was another note. "If you found this, Allison, it means you've already seen the worst. So remember, never rebuild alone." The next morning, I met with the company's senior board. I told them, "This empire isn't a dynasty, it's a duty. We'll invest half the trust into employee equity and fund new startup branches under their leadership." One of the executives whispered, "Your father would have been proud." Smiled. "He already is." That night, under the city lights, I sat on the balcony with the pendant in my palm. Lucas had been smart. But Dad was right. Wisdom belongs to the one who learns. Still, something about Evelyn's note lingered. Fix what he broke. What had Dad broken? The answer came 3 weeks later, in the form of a subpoena. It wasn't from Lucas. It was from the government. The subpoena was short but deadly. U.S. Federal Financial Crimes Division requests immediate access to Graves Industries' offshore transaction archives. For a moment I couldn't breathe. Evelyn had already exposed Lucas's crimes. What else could there be? Mr. Reed, the board chairman, met me in my office. It's not about you, Allison. This goes back years. Contracts your father signed before Lucas ever joined. My father. I dug through old files, tracing every project, every payment. One line item stood out. Project Eden 2012. A defense construction deal worth $200 million, terminated abruptly after a security breach. I called Evelyn in prison. She picked up the phone, her voice faint through static. I knew they'd come for that eventually, she said. Project Eden wasn't just a deal, it was a cover. For what? Your father used it to protect a whistleblower network. He funneled money through fake contracts to pay off families threatened by the corporations he exposed. He did it quietly, through the company's offshore accounts. So that's why the government's here. Yes, they think it's fraud. You have to prove it wasn't. I hung up shaking. My father, illegal transfers, secret networks. Not for greed but for protection. He wasn't a criminal. He was a shield. I met with the federal investigators the next day. They were cold, methodical, scanning every account. One agent, a woman named Detective Ramos, studied me. You're just like him. You cover your tracks well. I'm not covering anything, I said. I'm proving the truth. That night I stayed in the office alone. Files covered the floor. The hum of the city outside matched my racing heart. Finally, in a dusty folder I found it. A single document signed by the U.S. Department of Justice. Confidential agreement. Graves Industries to act as silent intermediary in protection of whistleblower families. My father had worked with them, not against them. I faxed it to Ramos immediately. Hours later she called. This clears the company. He was one of us. Relief hit me so hard I cried for the first time in months. But the victory came with a cost. The story leaked. Headlines erupted again. Allison Graves exposes hidden justice network. Investors panicked. Competitors smelled blood. Still I didn't flinch. I called a press conference the next morning. My father wasn't perfect, I said to the cameras. But he used his power to protect the powerless. And that's exactly what I'll keep doing. The crowd erupted in applause. For the first time, I wasn't just the daughter of Thomas Graves. I was his successor, in courage. The attacks began slowly. Anonymous leaks, fake scandals, rumors of insider trading. By week's end, Graves Industries shares dropped 15%. Someone wanted me gone. Then came the email. You can't silence everyone, Allison. Some ghosts don't stay buried. No signature. Just a black and white photo of my father and Evelyn years before his death. I called the only person who might know more. Detective Ramos. She met me in a cafe downtown. Your father made enemies, she said quietly. Powerful ones. The ones he exposed are still out there. And they think you're continuing his mission. I'm not, I whispered. I'm just trying to survive. Then you'll need help, she said, sliding a file across the table. Inside was a list of names. The first one stopped my breath. Lucas Graves. What about him? Yes. He's out. Temporary release for cooperation. He claims he has information that could save your company. I laughed bitterly. My brother wants to help me now. Ramos shrugged. He says the attacks aren't random. They're coming from a rival group inside your own board. Later that night my phone rang. Unknown number. Allison. Lucas's voice, calm, broken. You were right. About everything. Claire's people are the ones doing this. They want the trust money. She's not in prison, she's in Dubai, pulling strings. My blood turned cold. Why are you telling me this? 'Cause they used me too. If they destroy you, they destroy me. I'll send proof. But you'll have to decide whether to save the empire, or save me. Then the line went dead. Evelyn had said never rebuild alone. Now I understood why. The next morning a data dump hit the news. Emails, contracts, all exposing Claire's offshore shell corporations. She'd been embezzling trust funds from both sides of the case. The storm was over. And this time, it was me who held the umbrella. I filed for an international warrant through Ramos. Claire was arrested within weeks. When Lucas called again from custody, I answered. He whispered, "Dad would have been proud of you, ally." I didn't reply, but deep down, hoped he was right. A year later, the Graves name finally stood for something again. Not greed, not power, but integrity. We rebuilt the empire from the ground up. Every new office bore a plaque that read, "Built for those who speak when others stay silent." I started a foundation in Dad's memory, the Thomas Graves Trust for Whistleblower Protection. We funded education, security, and justice for those who risked everything to tell the truth. The press called it redemption. But to me it was closure. One afternoon I visited the beach house again, the same place where the journal started it all. The sun was warm. The sea was calm. I opened the final page of Dad's journal and wrote my last entry beneath his. "You called him the smart one, Dad. But maybe wisdom comes from pain. And sometimes, the daughter you overlooked becomes the voice that carries your name with honor." As I stood on the porch, I heard footsteps behind me. Lucas. Thinner. Quieter. Free but changed. "I didn't expect you," I said softly. He nodded. "I wanted to see the house one last time. And thank you for not letting it all die." We stood in silence, the ocean wind brushing between us. Then he smiled faintly. "Guess you were the smart one after all." I laughed, tears stinging my eyes. "No. I was just the one who finally listened." He left without another word. And as his figure disappeared into the horizon, I felt the last weight lift. The Graves empire was no longer a wound. It was a promise. I closed the journal, whispered to the waves, "We did it, Dad." And for the first time I didn't feel like his daughter. I felt like his legacy. Sometimes the world crowns the loudest person as the smart one. But in the quiet hearts that refuse to give up, that's where real genius lives. I'm Allison Graves. And this was my story. If this story moved you, share it with someone who's been underestimated. Like, comment, and subscribe for more cinematic stories of truth, power, and redemption.